Hello and welcome to top10list.org, where you get a world of knowledge in 10 simple points. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 10 attractions in Austria. Let's go and dive right into number 10 with the Vienna State Opera. Vienna is famous for talented classic, Baroque, and Romantic composers. From Haydn to Strauss, music defined Vienna in the 1700s and 1800s. If you have time in the evening, buy tickets to hear an opera or see a concert. Tickets are only sold last minute, and tourists should take advantage of hearing the famous Viennese Philharmonics. Number 9 is Vienna and the Riesenrad Ferris wheel. If you love amusement parks and are traveling with children, the Riesenrad is an excellent attraction. It was a golden jubilee to Emperor Franz Joseph I in 1897. Although it was burned down in 1944 by the Nazis, it was rebuilt in the post-war era. The view of Austria is spectacular as it provides tourists with a 360-degree angle of Vienna. It is close to the city center and is just 10 minutes away by bus. Number 8 is in Innsbruck, and it's the Swarovski Crystal Worlds. This magical and breathtaking world is a must-see in Austria. The attraction was designed in honor of Daniel Swarovski, the leading designer of crystal. The hill that you arrive on is actually a head from which a waterfall runs from. The whole park consists of 7 linked halls with breathtaking sceneries. There is also a children's playground where your offspring can play. At the end of your tour, you can visit the gift shop to buy crystal artwork. Number 7 is the Deutsche Wagram Marchfeldorf restaurant. In this country-style and historic town where Napoleonic battles were fought, a famous restaurant is located. A red carpet is literally rolled for guests who enter this restaurant. All guests are greeted with a band and a welcome sign. They are then seated in chairs where famous people like John Lennon, Elton John, Pope John Paul II once sat. The food is traditional and will have your mouth watering with satisfaction. And number 6 is in Vienna, and it's Prater Park. This public amusement park is good for the whole family, especially those with kids. It was a gift by Frederick I to a noble family, de Prato. There is a planetarium and a museum on site, which tourists could visit to learn more about the history of Austria. Number 5 is in Vienna, and it's the Schönbrunn Imperial Palace. The summer palace once belonged to Habsburg monarchs, who were the imperial and colonial rulers until 1918. Individuals visited the Imperial Palace can view the French gardens, see the Sun Fountain, and take a tour of the former residence of the monarchs. You can also relive history where John F. Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev met to discuss the Cold War in 1961. If you are tired and want a snack, you could take part in a cooking class which teaches you how to make a strudel. You can then sample the strudel yourself. Number 4 is in Salzburg, and it's Mozart's birthhouse. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is famous for being a child prodigy. He spent most of his writing and composing music and operas. By the time he was 35, he had composed 600 works in total. When others are being schooled and take life easy, Mozart was writing symphonies and performing for royalty at the age of 5. When you go to Salzburg, you need to go to the birthhouse. It is well kept and is preserved in memory of this great composer. Some of the furniture and instruments are still from Mozart's time. Number 3 is in Salzburg, and it's the Mirabell Palace and Gardens. This Baroque-style palace is built surrounding gardens, and it is made famous by the movie The Sound of Music. If you are a fan of the movie, this place is for you. You can walk in the shoes of Maria and other children as they sang Do Re Mi and use the steps as musical scales. The botanical gardens are astounding. You can sit, relax, and enjoy a beautiful day surrounded by blossoming flowers. Number 2 is in Upper Austria, and it's the Mauthausen Memorial. The memorial stands on the former grounds of a concentration camp where approximately 37,000 were murdered and exterminated. This visit provides a somber reminder of the battlefield past in Austrians' history. Your heart will drop as you look up the death stairs. Most of the concentration camp is non-existent as the grounds are used to build neighborhoods. And last but not least on our list is in the town of Linz, and it's the Hartheim Euthanasia Center. Built in the 16th century, this castle belonged to Princess of Starhemberg. For centuries, it provided a home for the physically and mentally disabled. With Anschluss and the incorporation of Austria into the Third Reich came dire consequences. The Nazis were fundamental believers in survival of the fittest and eugenics. Between 1939 and 1940, they turned the castle into a euthanasia center where they implemented Action T4 and built gas chambers and crematoriums. Before using Zyklon B to exterminate Jews and other prisoners of war, they experimented with the mentally and physically ill using Zyklon B in asylums such as the Hartheim Euthanasia Center. This center went on to exterminate various Jewish people, opposing Catholics and clergy, as well as prisoners of war throughout most of World War II. Approximately 18,000 individuals lost their lives at Hartheim, and it now is built as a memorial which remembers victims who died during the Holocaust. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Top 10 for Attractions in Austria. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click subscribe and join us again for another episode of Top 10 List.